All right. So the reason why we're showing you this little secret for writing your headlines in Google Ads is because this is something that you can use to increase the relevance of your ads and make it really customized to the people who are searching for it. So let's start with dynamic keyword insertion. So I've added a note here. And basically, in the technical sense, dynamic keyword insertion, it works best only if it will complement the rest of your ad copy. What do I mean by this? So the dynamic part of this is that whatever, a user will type in their search query, if you're using dynamic keyword insertion, it will appear sa ad mo. So if you're using this in your headlines, it will appear as one of your headlines. If you're using this in a portion of your description, it will also appear there. But for today's example, I'm just going to show you how you can apply it sa headlines mo. And don't worry, Joanne will also show you how you can apply this in the next lesson. So how you will use this basically is like this example above. You will type a curly bracket followed by the word keyword, colon, and then close it again with curly bracket. And you would see something called default text, like in this example here. And default text isn't completely necessary, but it's good to have when you're using DKI or dynamic keyword insertion in case your particular DKI can't show up. So that would be your like backup plan in Google. So another best practice is when you are using this, don't just use DKI on its own, like this example above, because it's gonna look awkward in your ad copy. Best practice is to include some text before or after your DKI. So for example, we have this one. So we have the word online followed by DKI. And here I'm using the default text guitar lesson. So as you can see here, it is customized and it's relevant to our keywords and the rest of our ad copy. So that's how you would use DKI. And then for the next part, this is called dynamic location insertion. And it works a little bit similar to DKI because you are using something dynamic, which is dynamic location. And this is great if you are promoting a local service or businesses that offer location-specific services. Like here we have in our notes, like flower shops, grocery apps, hotels, or contractors, plumbers, things like that. Because the relevance of location for those type of businesses is really important. And for this, something that you have to keep in mind is that your location settings when you build your campaign will have an impact on how this works. So
Question.
basically, yeah, go ahead.
Um, let's say you clicked on the cell above that. Is the note automatically gonna open? Ah, yeah. Okay, okay.
You would have to, I think, hover over it. Let me see. Oh, it pops up automatically. So that's
All right,
great.
all right, all right. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So for this, your location settings is going to have an impact. So when you are building your campaign on Google Ads, you will have two types of settings that you can choose from. It's called in presence or interest. And what that means is if you select people that have a presence in your target location, it's going to show ads to people who are in that location. Versus if you click the one that says people that have an interest, that means it will show ads to people who are either within or who have shown an interest in that target location. So an example is, let's say right now I'm here in Laguna, but based on my search history and the things I have done on Google, I have showed an interest in places like Boracay, Palawan, Siargao, things like that. So Google knows that I don't live there. I'm not in those locations, but it might show me ads for things like hotels, resorts, things like that, if there are advertisers that have used that location setting. So that's something that you should consider when you're going to use this. So your location settings will have an impact. Now, when you're using dynamic location insertion, here we recommend that you use a default text. Bakit? Because sometimes Google cannot determine a user's location. It could be because they have an ad blocker, they're using a VPN, or it just can't determine now where is this person. So you want to have a default text in place so that when your ad shows up and it's using that, it's not blank and it's not awkward. Now, when you're using default text here, it will depend on what type of location you're targeting. Is it a city? Is it a state? Things like that. So it will depend. So for example purposes here for M Dantes, let's say that we are targeting, the entire Philippines. Since it's online, we're not restricted by location. So we recommend that you also add some text before or after so that it looks more natural. So in this case, you would type in some text. So let's say here, in the, and then we have our DKL. So in the Philippines. Now, let's say, for example, you're using this for a business that's electrical supplies. Let's say electrical supply in, and then you would use your DKI again, something like that. And then just add your default text. So that will depend on, what you're targeting exactly, and then just customize it. So don't stress too much about character limits when you're using dynamic keyword or dynamic location insertion. Because when you start building out your campaign in Google Ads, Google will tell you naman if it's too long or it's too short, things like that. So don't overthink it too much when you're using this. All right. So that's basically how you use dynamic keyword and dynamic location insertion.